Hi everybody, good to see you all again. Welcome to Bad Barry's Bar. As you know, I'm Bad Barry and this is my bar. Welcome aboard. Well, I've got a couple of stories for you tonight that I hope will amuse you. The first one concerns a guy and he's driving along with his car and he's in the country and all of a sudden the car stops. Tries to start it, it won't start. Turns out it's out of gas. So he's standing by the side of the car there wondering what to do when a bee came along. And the bee said, "What's your problem?" The guy said, "Well, I'm out of gas." And the bee said, "Let's see if I can help you." So he flew off and the guy stood there thinking, what the heck is a bee going to do for me? So a little bit later, this bee came back with all his friends, a whole swarm. And they all went into his gas tank. And the guy's looking at this. Well, suddenly they all come out again and the bee said, "Okay, start up." The guy started up. He said, what did you put in my tank?" And the bee said, "BP." Well, what do you expect this time? Now, another little story that really did make me laugh was there's a big fire in a warehouse. And this fire's burning all around the yard and there's 3 fire engines there with all the crews and they're trying to put the fire out. And the owner's saying, $5,000 if you can save my office building, $5,000 if you can save the office building. And they're trying, but the fire's getting worse and worse. And all of a sudden an old cranky fire engine comes flying down the street. There's a huge screech of brakes and this fire engine goes straight into the yard right in the middle of the fire. And out jump all these old guys, firemen. They crack the hoses up and start squirting, put the fire out. The owner's amazed. He said, "That is absolutely fantastic." He said, "You went right into the middle of the fire there and you put the fire out and all these other ones couldn't do it." He said, "Well, here's your $5,000. And the guy said, "Thanks very much." He said, "Now, what are you going to do with the $5,000? And the fire captain said, "Well, the first thing I'm going to do is fix the brakes on this fire engine." Well, you know, talking about fires, to be very serious, I lived for a number of years in Singapore and Malaya. And I was over there one Sunday. I was out with my wife and another couple. We were in a restaurant, had lunch, came out and looked across the city and there was a big column of smoke going up. And I said, "Gosh, there's got to be one hell of a fire over there." And having nothing better to do, we drove over there. Well, as we got close to this, where the fire was, we going down this road, you'd think you're in a war zone. There were hundreds of Asian people coming down the road with bicycles, with all their belongings in bags, with sewing machines on the handlebars of their bikes they're pushing along. I mean, hundreds of them. And I thought, what is going on? Well, it was a big squatter area which had caught fire. So my wife and the other couple said, "Well, we're going to stay here," you know, nosying me. I thought, I've got to see what's going on. So I went into the actual camp up the road there. All these people are coming out and there were 2 policemen there, 2 young policemen, a Chinese policeman and a Malay one, and they didn't seem to know what to do. And they said, "Look, you know, I don't know what's happening here. What can we do? The fire engines are being called." I said, "Well, the best thing is you go on one side of this street and I'll go on the other, and let's open all the doors of all the houses and make sure nobody's been left inside and there's no animals inside." So off we went. I never saw them again. So I went through these houses and I tell you, I have memories now which will be with me forever. I feel so sad. Some of these poor people had little houses which were maybe 10 by 10, no tin roof, tar paper roofs and so on. They had their few possessions in there. They had little altars on the wall with pictures of their grandparents and so on. And all of this was going up in smoke. That's all they had. It was absolutely terrible. So I went through this and there were pigs screaming, being roasted. I was breaking down fences, letting chickens and pigs and that out. And these things are going wild. You have to really keep out the way. So I was in there for quite a long time. And at one point, I went into one house. I mean, if you've never seen like a real forest fire, and believe me, this was some fire, it's roaring away. I went into the front door of a house, nobody in there, went through to the back, and the back had a 6-foot high fence all the way around, which is very unusual. I went out to look in the yard, no dogs, no chickens there. When I went to go back in the house, it was alight, couldn't get in, couldn't get back into the house. I had to shin over the 6-foot fence to get out, and that was a real close shave, believe me, because there were embers and everything falling around me. So I thought I've got to be a bit more careful than this. So it was quite an experience anyway. It lasted the whole afternoon. At one point I was on the roof of a go down at the side of the where they're containing it as it was coming down the road. And that's where I learned how to use a fire hose. A fire truck came along and the fireman got up there and said, "Have you ever used a fire hose before?" He said, "Take this one," showed me how to put it under my arm and hold it. And I was squirting it onto a shed, which is a big builder's yard shed with a thatched roof. And there were 2 fire engine hoses going full tilt onto this roof. And this roof just went woof, straight up as if there was no water there. You'd never believe the power of a fire. Unbelievable, because I guess the straw is thick and the straw underneath had caught light and it just came clean through the water sheet on the top. Unbelievable. So it's a lesson I've learned, fire is very dangerous. Anyway, it was the Bucket Hose Sui fire. If you're interested, you can go on YouTube and you can look it up. Singapore Fire, 1961. 16,000 people were homeless in an afternoon, 54 died. It's one of the biggest fires in the world ever. So in some ways I was privileged to be in it, but from it I really learned some very serious lessons about how serious fires are and how to be careful. Well, okay folks, sorry to end jokes with a serious chat, but stay safe. Hope to see you again. If you like it, press the like button and subscribe and you'll get some more of my meanderings every day on your email. Thanks very much. Bye.